do you color like this? Well, if you clicked on this video, I'm guessing you want to know, so let's get right into it. Here's the plan. I think there are 3 key things you have to master if you want to learn how to color. I'm going to talk about how to practice each of them, artists plus brushes you can use to reference, and some bonus tips at the end. Now when I say master, it's a little silly because you can't really master it. You just have to set a benchmark for yourself and either reach that benchmark or better yet higher. So the 3 things are color theory, contrast, and lighting. Starting with contrast, I set my benchmark to artists like Go to Sleep 1200 and Yuming, who both use color to make their art pop. It really gives this ethereal, almost fantasy vibe to their works. So you have to think of contrast as a slider. You can use it as much as you want for a dramatic effect in your art, but it's best to keep it relatively in the middle unless you are going for a specific look. How exactly do you use contrast? So in this specific style study, I'm going to show you my speed paint on this piece where I study Go to Sleep 1200 style. The funny thing is, the brushes are from Yuming and they're free, so I'm going to link them in the pinned comment. But anyways, they're great to achieve that painterly rendered look. So as you can see, you have to pick 2 contrasting colors, one dark and one light. And when laying down your image, at least for this, I wanted to achieve that kind of painted look, so I kept it in shapes before refining it further. And this is very similar to what traditional artists do when they're using oil paints or whatever. They usually start with like a background and then they sketch out the image in shapes and then they refine it further. So in Procreate and a lot of other drawing softwares, you have this little box. And if you want to achieve kind of the low contrast look that I'm going for in this image, try to keep your color within this box. Another key thing to keep in mind is using pure white and black. When trying to master contrast, these are your best friends, but you have to be careful when you're using them. White can show light and reflections, but don't use it for everything. Even if something looks white, it usually has hints of gray. Now I'm going to get more into that in the color theory portion of this video, but just keep that in mind. Use it sparingly for a more realistic effect. For black, kind of the same thing, but you can really use it for anything you want to make something stand out. If you want a way to check if you are using contrast effectively, turn your drawing grayscale and see if you're still able to distinguish the main elements. Now, next is color. For me, at least, color theory is a very interesting thing because oftentimes it doesn't look like what it may seem. And saturation is how much of that color is being used, and value is how dark or light it is. See, most people, when they start out, me included, pick bright, saturated colors and use one color for a specific thing. Skin, for example, is some shade of beige or brown, but what you don't realize is the orange from the sunlight or the blue from shadow can really add depth to your image, even though they are not that explicit color. If you need a little inspiration on what colors to use, my main tip is to pick low saturated colors and stay within that box so you don't add too many colors at once. But honestly, if this is what you're going for, go for it. It's your image, it's what you want, and it's what you enjoy. This is just my personal preference with my artworks. And also, if you really have a hard time picking colors, using color combinations online or on Pinterest, or just finding images that you like and color picking from there can help you choose the colors you want. But don't color pick from real life images because this can look really weird if you try it. But like I mentioned with contrast, using pure white and black sparingly and for sun reflections using blue and orange to show lighting can really help you achieve a more realistic look. Values have to be picked strategically too to add depth, and darker values in the front and lighter values in the back. Lighting, that's the last point and honestly my least favorite. For the longest time, I struggled and still sometimes do with figuring out how to do lighting. Artists like Rella and Assi are my main inspo when it comes to lighting. Like, look at this, look how gorgeous it is. But my best tip is to have a reference, one that has a clear light source that you can try to mimic. After a while, you will be able to produce this from memory, but for now, try to choose a clear light source. Also, using a 3D model as your base where you can move around the lighting can help you visualize it really well. Lastly, multiply layers are your best friend, at least when you're starting out. I don't use them that much anymore, and sometimes I do, but honestly, I I think whenever I use them, the colors just turn out really washed out and muddy. But it can be a great place to start if you have completely no idea how to do lighting, because all you have to do is pick a color over your image and then kind of just erase the parts of it that are touched by light. And there are a lot of amazing artists that use it really, really well. Now, I'm sorry if that's a lot of information all at once, so I'm going to try to condense it down while I do a drawing that combines all of the things that I talked about. While I'm drawing, I'm also going to mention some helpful resources to help you learn about these 3 aspects and really go in depth to anyone that interested you the most. Okay, for this drawing, I chose to draw a video game character. I think her name is Soneto, and she's from Reverse 1999. I've never actually played that game. I just think the art is really pretty and the characters look super interesting. So I chose to draw her, but like more in her childhood version. So it's not like how she actually looks now because she has longer hair and everything, but I really like the design of her younger version. So that's what I was going to draw. And the reason I chose this is because I feel like the colors work really well together. I was kind of going for like a muddy color palette, so like really dark, deep reds and like browns and those kind of colors, and this really fit well. So in this drawing, I did something a little bit different because usually my process goes sketch, liner, colors, and a little bit of rendering on top of the liner, but for this drawing, I chose to start blocking off the colors first before I refined it more in line art. And I've really just been trying to explore my style a lot more and not like limiting myself to like only doing a one set process, because I think it's a lot of fun to like try out different styles and different ways to do things, and I highly recommend it. So as you can see, I think it's kind of fitting that we were just talking about contrast, because this drawing, I really struggled with contrast. I actually had to use the grayscale technique I talked about earlier because the colors were just not fitting right. And I think you'll see by the end of the drawing that I really fixed the colors, and all the stuff that we talked about earlier kind of played a role here. And I think it's really nice that that's how it worked out. Okay, so I think I said this earlier, but I'm going to link all my brushes in the pinned comment, and in the description box you can go check out all the different resources I have for contrast, lighting, and coloring. And these are going to be like YouTube videos, like websites, books, things that help me in general, and also artists, because I reference a lot of artists, and I think that's one of the best ways to learn is to find other people who have a similar art style to something that you might want to have and kind of figure out what their process is. And that's another key thing I want to talk about, which is doing a lot of style studies, because one of the things that has really helped me in my art is style studies. Just pick an artist you might enjoy and look at their work, look at the way they do their art, their process videos if they have any, look at other style studies that people might have done on that artist, and you can really learn a lot just by studying an artist. And also not just an artist, you can study like things, you can study animals, anatomy, people. Just taking some time to just do studying on your own can really help you improve your art. And a lot of people just say practice every day and you'll be really good at art. And while this isn't like wrong or anything, I really feel like sometimes you have to take a step back and relearn some of the things you've been doing, because practicing every day is just going to be you doing the same thing every single day. While if you study other people's art or like look at other people's process videos, learn some new tips and tricks, you can actually apply these to your art and you'll see a lot of difference and hopefully get where you want to be. It also works the other way too. The only real way to get good at art is to draw. And I know this sounds super cliche. I just said 5 minutes ago that everyone says this, but it's really true. If you just sit there and watch videos, you look at other artists, sure, it's going to help you understand art overall, but the only real way to practice it and develop your own skill is to draw as much as you can every single day and really have it as something that you enjoy. Don't draw for like anyone, or like don't draw, because I remember a couple weeks back I was kind of like really burnt out in my drawing in general, because I felt like I was really drawing only for YouTube or Instagram or whatever I was doing. And you should just take some time to draw something that you like, and don't try to be a perfectionist about it. Don't try to like copy someone else. Just draw something that you like, and this is a real way to enjoy art while also learning at the same time. And that's just my tips. Okay, so towards the end, you can kind of see that I've changed the color of the background, and this is where color theory came into play, because the blue that I used originally really didn't go well with the muddy color palette I was going for, so I was able to kind of, using the reference image, kind of figure out a background color that would be better, and I really like how this one turned out. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, it really helps a lot. And if you really like my art or my channel or want to watch more of my videos, you can subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. I love reading your guys' comments, and I will respond to as many as I can. Like I said earlier, all the stuff I use is in the description box, and thank you so much for watching if you watched all the way till here. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!